And what I'm seeing now is it comes down to, and I'm labeling it so I can remember it in the future, but I label it the promotions in motion method, right? A promotion in motion. All right, what is up, everybody? I am back with my picnic shirt.
And I have my coffee, as always.
Loving that.
Don't worry, it's only my third cup of the day.
We actually have to have a video just about how you make your coffee, right?
Oh.
Because I know it's very, it's a skill. It's an art.
It is an art, and I may need to break out the filmmaker inside of me and do some B-roll and do a coffee montage. If anybody knows Peter McKinnon, that's always been my inspiration. Yeah, big coffee nut over here.
There you go. Hey, well, we're gonna need that coffee because what we're talking about today, it's something that's required, right? Especially when it comes to launching. We want to get into the nitty-gritty of action, right? So I think that's the subject for today. In our last episode, we talked about how we want to apply that launch between our world and the SaaS world, right? Came up with some cool ideas of how this works along the way. So we want to show some of the nitty-gritty ideas that we have, and maybe show some examples. Right?
Yeah, let's get practical, man.
I think so. I think that's really needed because nowadays, like, I remember reading, listening to Alex Hormozy, and he says, and Steve Larson, and he says, we're no longer in the information age, but in the knowledge age, which means, like, it's funny because we no longer need the information. We just now need to know how to perfect the use of the information, how to make it live, right? You get an idea? How do I use this to get the result that I'm looking for? And that's what we're looking for, because you'll find information everywhere, right?
Right.
Like I go to the bathroom now, and I now know if I want a good time, call this number, right? It's there, right?
Yeah.
So how do we make that a real life thing?
Now they even say we're in the age of intelligence with AI, right? Mm-hmm. It's just changing the way people learn. It's like you're able to go down rabbit holes at depths and speed that's never been humanly imaginable, right?
So true. So true. I hear gurus now that were once teaching how to learn coding. They said, I'll tell you right now, these gurus are saying, do not learn how to code on your own anymore. You don't need that. What you need to do now is know how to use AI to spit something out, to do the hard work. There's no more memorizing needed. You need to just know how to use the AI tool to shoot something out and then use that as the starting point, because they do a better job than what you're going to be doing by learning from scratch.
Dude, it's like a live tutor. It's the feedback loop. We can now get instant feedback on things and have an iteration buddy, right?
That's it.
Imagine just the delay has shortened. So how do we pair that speed with still unhurried expectations and like intentionality, right? So I think that's what you probably are going to tease out as you and I seek to build this community, seek to bring people into success open source and really help people unlock new potential in their business, in their entrepreneur journey, and leverage great sales process and tools in the process.
Seriously, without a doubt. And I feel like right now we're going to get right into it. And the one thing, I'm going to just share it all right now, because I found out that there's a pattern, right? We've both seen successful people. I'm starting to see, as I read through some of these people, there's a pattern that they're using in order to launch their business and to become successful. Alex Hormozy done it. What was his name? Dana Derricks, Steve Larson, Russell Brunson. They're on the same circle, of course. But you see people like Neil Patel apply the same thing. You see people like Sam Ovens?
Yeah, Sam Ovens.
There's a lot of, and I'm realizing there's this
Cole Gordon. Just start Ravi Alavala, just name all the gurus.
All these great people, and I'm realizing that there's a pattern that they're giving out, which is the sad part, because they're giving it out and we're not seeing it. Just by their email sequences, their work, they're sharing this with us, and we just got to pick up the nuggets, just like Hansel and Gretel, right? Got to pick up those.
That's a really good point.
And what I'm seeing now is it comes down to, and I'm labeling it so I can remember it in the future, but I label it the promotions in motion method, right? A promotion in motion. And really what I realized, it comes down to just 4 different points from the moment you start your idea or have your idea to and how to get new fresh eyes to that idea all the way up into your funnel, right? And I wish you can write this down. We're going to make sure that we include this somewhere so you can see it. And what I want to do today is I want to give this idea of how it's used, what these 4 pieces are for this promotion emotions method. But I would love to see what Noah has in mind of how to double down its efforts with AI. We're going to jump into that because I want to make sure this is actionable and AI can do the work for you.
Yep.
Right? It definitely can. So those 4 pieces within the promotions and motions method. The first one is your promotions, right? How are you going out to, let's say, for example, use the example of us in SaaS, right? That's what we're moving toward. And I'm showing these ideas of how we're using it. So us in the SaaS world, if we're selling to SaaS companies how to nurture conversations that turns into opportunities and closed-won opportunities, if anything, that's the offer, right? We're using a system to help them nurture this. So, and we want to help SaaS entrepreneurs do this. So the first step being promotions, how do we get fresh new eyes? Meaning, how do we do promotions with other pools, I guess you could say red small markets, right? How do we get the leaders of that space and collaborate with them in a way that brings them into our world? So one example, let's say, for example, Russell Brunson being one of them, right? He has software that's focused on, he teaches software entrepreneurs. So one piece of a promotion could be us interviewing Russell, right? Maybe he has that 1 funnel away challenge, right? So a promotion could be us collaborating with them in that 1 funnel away challenge, maybe even providing an offer on top of his 1 funnel away. So when people join that world that are software focused, we can provide an offer to get people into his OFA. But at the end of it, as a part of the offer, the full offer, it's a conversation with us, right? So these are hooks, if anything.
And if I hear you right, you're emphasizing joint venture Dream 100 right out the gate, instead of falling into build it and they'll come is the worst case scenario. You're like, oh, I got the thing, I got the funnel, right? So why am I not getting sales? Or like you have a low audience and you're it's like trying to fish in a pay lake that you haven't stocked yet. But if you partner with the guys who have the fish, they'll come in and, you scratch their back, they scratch yours, bring the fish in, now you can fish, right?
Yes.
Or you go into their lake, right?
Yes, that's 100% true. And I remember this worked for me one time because I was given a list, or given access to use someone's list. And mind you, I wasn't getting book calls like I wanted to, right? So he says, hey, go ahead and you can send a targeted message, 3 of them, if anything, to my list and see what comes from it. It was only like maybe 300 people in there. And I remember sending a sequence into that his lake, and I pulled out 16 book calls. I was like, dude, like, that's insane. Like, and I remember creating a video on that before of what worked and what allowed it to work. So the first message got the most, the second message was a dud, the last message was a breakup message, and that got the second most, right? So it's that scarcity of me being gone. And so that definitely works.
Wrapped up right with a transfer of trust, because they're like, oh, he wouldn't just let anybody come in and message on to his list.
Yes, exactly. So it's like that warm approach already. And you can apply this anywhere. It doesn't have to be a list. You can use it in events. Let's say, for example, there's going to be a Salesforce event, right? That teaches people how to use Salesforce to convert enterprise sales. Now, I know where Salesforce is promoting their information. LinkedIn, they have their own website. There's a lot of people Google Salesforce on YouTube all the time. So I can now use that keyword and start promoting their upcoming event. But with that, I'll say, hey, here's 5 strategies you can use with Salesforce to convert more leads. So I'm helping them get more attention. I'm riding the wave of their keyword. But as people are consuming it, I can offer them, after they consume my product, an email template or a sequence that can be used in our automation in tandem with Salesforce to get or convert your leads long term, right? So
I love that.
There's a lot of ways to ride other people's noise. In this case, using other people's ponds to fish.
Right. And if we're trying to make it really simple, right? Okay, who could be that for me? And I'm trying to think, if I'm playing the advocate, right? If I'm in someone else's shoes and they're listening to what we're saying, who actually is in my Dream 100? Who is a good affiliate, joint venture, whatever you want to call it? It's that I think it's summed up as the missional partner. Who do you have a missional alignment with that you could also complement? It doesn't have to be complement their offer or like this plug and play, but maybe you complement them in some form or fashion as a fellow entrepreneur. You know what I mean? Just get creative with it and build a relationship. And ideally that missional alignment, I think, can create some synergy opportunities. Now, obviously, A-level players, D1, if we're at D4, D3, it's hard to go up the chain that quick, and maybe you could speak into that. I don't know if that was going to be your next bit, Daniel, but I would love to hear your thoughts and experience on that.
No, yeah, you're so right. I noticed the best way to build your authority is to match those that are 2 steps above you, right? So if I have a following of only 10,000 people, I want to seek conversations with 30,000 people, like influencers that are searching or working with 30,000 followers. Those are definitely, like, you can just say C-list, right? And you work that C-list where then you go to someone who has 50,000 and it pushes you up even higher. And the good thing is that by you being associated with that name, it pushes you up, right? And you can continue to work that where you end up meeting someone at like 90,000 followers and you interview them for your podcast. That alone could be a good one. Or you can even pay them for an hour of their time. And now you purchased their authority. You can now say, go to someone who has 200,000 followers and say, hey, I was able to pick the brains of people like C-list, and I want to put your interview next to theirs, right? And that's enough to say, like, oh, well, this guy's serious. He's working with some big names already.
Yeah.
So you can buy your way into it, right? And mind you, I've done that with Dana Derricks. Huge guy, four Common Club awards, right? Making dumb money with his Airbnb and his tools. He successfully exit his software. But now,
and this is the guy who really took the Dream 100 and ran with it, right? 100, 100%. So a lot of what Daniel's talking about, you learned from Dana. And it's piggybacks off of Russell making it famous. And yeah.
Yes, and I used his name to end up going deeper into Russell's world by meeting the funnel, what was it? Funnel brokers? Wait, was not Funnelytics. It was funnel Rolodex owners, right? And that's a huge player after the OFA, right? It's like I rode that wave to open the door and we had a conversation with the owner there, and now we're like this too, like we're cool.
Yeah.
So using.
Did you say there was missional alignment there, like people going in a similar direction, right?
He told us to get our offer down so we can highlight it in funnel Rolodex. So the heads up there.
Yeah.
Our offer, what we're working on, he said put it down because we want to shout it out. So now we have these opportunities now. Now I'm fishing in their pond, and we have the option. So that's a really, really, that's the first step, right? Mm-hmm. Finding who's out there that's complementary, to really make it easy to understand. And a good example would be if you're doing fitness, if you're teaching the fitness industry and you're teaching them how to make meals for meal prepping, a good partner will be a juicer, right? Someone who does juices, drinks, right? It's complementary to what you're doing, your main steak, along with the juice, right? So, and then you can meet someone in supplements, you know what I mean? So now that's a good, I hope that makes it easy to consume.
Right? Yes.
Starts with promotions. Then I know we're kind of close on time, but this is going to be able to this is going to build your list already, right? That's going to make it easy. And the list is where the money's at, right? And that's how you convert your leads, right? That next step between the promotion and motions method was your platform, right? So promotions first, you're getting eyes, and when you get those eyes on you, where do you send them, right? Of course, you get them to your funnel, but you also want to make sure in that thank you page it says, hey, if you want to meet more people in the community and learn more, let's get some free other resources, check out my community. Steve Larson does that very well, where he does an offer and he says, hey, you'll get access to 1,000, 10,000 other people who are doing something just like you. Sign up for my Facebook group, right? And that's where he puts all his good stuff. Courses, free courses. He puts resources. He does the live events. He does everything inside that group to nurture them and to help them get more of what they're looking for. It's kind of like how YouTube works, right? They give you a recommendation on something similar, right? It's just like that. You enjoyed something on someone else's podcast. Now you get to go, you hear someone else on that podcast, and now you have a recommendation to go to a place where it's just that one topic is there. And that's your
All
platform.
the dots start connecting. Yeah.
Exactly. So that platform is what you want to pour your heart and soul in terms of ideas and resources. So now people are saying, wow, like this guy is serious about what he's doing. And a quick plug for us, we're doing that inside of our Slack community, right?
Yes, sir.
All of our videos, resources, everything that we really find useful, even Noah's amazing templates are found in there, right? That I've
Trying to curate.
curate.
Organize it. Yeah.
And that's the best part, make
Yeah.
success open source where you can act as a library and see, oh, I was looking for this right here. So that's the next best step, because now if anyone who was cold, start to become warm, just like how the CIA does it when converting overseas spies, right? In order to do that, you got to be around them duration, right? If I met you one day and ask you to spy for me, in one day you're like, no. Well, if you're with me, we're hanging out, going out for drinks, going to parties, introducing your friends for the next 3 years, then I said, hey, you know what? I really need your help. You're more likely to say yes, and that's kind of how the idea works, right? Or you can use the dating example, right? After 7 dates, 20 dates, you're more likely to get married.
Yeah.
Right? So, any thoughts on that?
My thoughts are, okay, now you have outlined attracting an audience, right? With the promotion and the Dream 100. Now we're getting to, okay, how do we capture these? You need a platform. Why? So you can capture. What is it? It can be a funnel. It can be an opt-in. People give you their information. It can be a Facebook group. Like that may be one of the simplest. So I was going to just real quickly on the how, because we got pretty practical with the how on the, how do you think of your Dream 100? What's your go-to on the simple how? I have thoughts here too, but just simple how of this, the capturing the platform part of it.
Oh, yes. So I've learned this one from Jim Edwards. He says, what you want to do is, in a very simple way to capture anyone, is to sell them give away the boat and sell the motor, right? So you show them the old way of getting the job done, and then show them the new way found here. That's the best way to get someone into your world very quickly. So another example of that is like, if you can, and what I've heard that really works is if you can get someone to believe perception wise, that you've put that they are winning at a greater rate than you're giving. So if they're, by them receiving $1,000 worth of value and you're getting nothing out of it, they're more likely to engage in that, right? So perceptions are really big ones. So in this case, let's say, for example, I was teaching Russell Brunson's group, or let's say I had an interview with Russell Brunson talking about what's the best way to nurture sales leads. And then I gave him some ideas of like, hey, this is how you follow up. This is what I would do. I would call them, send them a text message one by one. I'll send them an email about some resources, talk about his Seinfeld sequence. But then at the end say, hey, you know what? That's all the manual way. But if you want the actual sequence that does this for you, all you got to do is plug in their name and their desire and just plug them in there. And there's a 22-step sequence that gets the job done for you without you having to do it from scratch. Go ahead and check it out right here on my website, .com. And it's all free for you. And now they're like, oh my goodness, like you taught me something, but now I can go use it really quickly. Like it looks like you put a lot of effort into that and it's free, and I don't, so that's another good way to really pull them.
You share the framework, which is like this cadence, the sequencing, and then take what's proven messaging and a proven mechanism to apply it. It's great. It's like, oh, dude, that's so valuable. I understand that. I think understanding leads towards another commitment, right? Of like, no brainer if this can save me time. People want to save time. They want to make money. They want their life to be easier, right?
100%. Just the way you said it was perfect. I would just put down a t-shirt because that boom. But I think that's 100% the framework. When they get belief, right? It comes down to belief of like, hey, I can do that. It works. Now, how can I do that? You give that to them. They're more likely to take action. So that's my strategy for pulling someone into your world.
Absolutely. I love it. I think you ask yourself with all of this, okay, what's that, if I have this opportunity in front of someone else's audience, what is that hook? What is that common belief? What is that campaign? Steve Larson talks a lot about the campaign. The campaign is coordinated efforts and coordinated messaging that you want, and that leads to coordinated steps. This is kind of how my mind sees it, that you want people to take. And it starts with that spear, the hook, and the story you tell with that. And then the offer, which is the first offer, is just like, hey, grab this free thing or hop into my community. And I think people love community, and they love free stuff if it's truly valuable. So think of something. You probably already have something. A lot of people have either in them or already out there that they could polish, put together a video. It could be an email sequence, just dream up whatever fits your communications style. Maybe you're more written, maybe you're more spoken, and have a simple page that people can give you their info and then start. Maybe it's manual starting out, right? And you just hit that list with a manual email to follow up with them. But keep it simple, right? And then you can get more automated. Join the community if you want to learn how to automate it.
If you want to hear some of these things, like there's so much more we can go with this. Like, so we mentioned just the first two of the entire four for that promotions and motions method, and we'll follow up with this in the next episode. Or maybe if you want to get everything right now, join the community where we lay it out. But like I mentioned, the first two alone is promotions, where you use a hook, just like Noah said. And the best way to use a hook, and this is going to be a really good writer downer, right, and this was coming from Steve Larson. The best way to use a hook is to call out the environment that the person's in right now, in this case, the red ocean, and then where their current, what they've purchased in the past in that red ocean, and then what problem they're facing right now. So the 3-step piece for that hook. So in this case, if I were to go to the SaaS industry saying, hey, you're a SaaS entrepreneur who has tried hiring digital marketing agencies to find help or to get more leads, but you're having a really tough time with getting the results that they're promising for you. So at this point, you're starting to think that this game isn't meant for you, or maybe this just doesn't work. What would you do in the next 3 days to put out an offer that will get you an abundance of result and will help you fire your digital marketing agency, right? That's a hook. And the person's feeling that. They're like, I did hire.
You called out the reality.
Exactly.
You made them feel understood. People don't buy until they're understood. And sometimes that buying is buying into you and listening to you. It's not just spending money.
Exactly. And
that's really good. Really good example there.
And I hope we can put that in a short somewhere. Right?
Yeah.
But that's kind of like the best hook. If you call and then have different realities, just know what the realities are. And the person says, I raised my hand, that's me. And they raise their hand to grab, and now they grab the hook. It literally is that method. They raise their hand, grab the hook. Now you reel them in into your community. And now you can say, hey, we're all like you. All of us are like you. And it's like, hi, my name is Daniel. I'm a SaaSpreneur who keeps spending money on tools.
And my ads keep failing me.
Yes, exactly. So those are the first two, and we can get real in depth. So if you guys want to see more, but I think more importantly, how to see how AI plays in this, Noah's your guy, because this all stuff could be done in the next 15 minutes.
Fast. It's getting crazy.
Fast. Yeah. So I hope that helps. I hope that gave some ideas of how to get leads, how to pull it, where to pull it from, how to get their attention, how to warm them up. So now you have a well-oiled machine. It's like a crock pot, right?
Right.
They're in your pot, and now they're warming up. And all you got to do is the next 2 steps, which I'm going to keep hidden. That's the next episode.
I love it. Till then, right?
Till then.
Hey, thanks for watching the Success Open Source Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, we would love for you to subscribe and join the community. Until next time, Take care, and let's all make success a little more open source.